Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Coffee, where today we will be discussing comments J.J. Abrams made about fixing what Rian Johnson did with The Last Jedi. That's today here on Star Wars Coffee.
I have spoken.
Hello there to all of the returning subscribers, but if you're new to the channel and you're just finding me for the first time, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button on this video and any other video from the channel that you check out, and be sure to hit that notification bell so that the bell is completely filled in, as this is the way you will never miss a new video the second it goes live.
Do it!
While The Rise of Skywalker wins its opening box office weekend, we are seeing the polar opposites in terms of reactions from both fans and critics from that of which we saw 2 years ago. Rather than critics praising the film and fans being split, we now have a majority of fans clinking glasses of blue milk together while the critics pull a hodl maneuver and stomp all over the end of the Skywalker saga. It's interesting to see this great divide between fans and the critics, as this seems to be becoming the norm for the sequel trilogy, with the only one both fans and critics could agree on is the Force Awakens consensus. While The Rise of Skywalker concludes the Skywalker saga, the conclusion of what was done right and what was done wrong in the sequel trilogy is far, far from over. Go to any online outlet for film news, Star Wars news, or comic book news, or anything for that nature, and you will see many more articles ripping the film a new one than praising anything that came from it. While we live in an age of tearing down the things we love rather than building them up, J.J. Abrams is tasked with answering the question of whether or not he threw out and had to fix what Rian Johnson accomplished in The Last Jedi. J.J. had a chance to respond at the Rise of Skywalker director screening. Once asked about the fact as to whether or not he undid many things Rian tried to set up in The Last Jedi, J.J. seems to take a different view than what a majority of fans did during their initial viewing of the film, which is to say that J.J. used a one-liner to essentially undo everything Rian sought to create. Upon further contemplation, and after watching and listening to what I'm about to play for you, it's much more apparent to me that this isn't what J.J. did at all. Before I play the clip, there are spoilers from The Rise of Skywalker coming up in this video, so please back out now if you don't want to be spoiled from seeing the film, as JJ is about to talk about some of the choices in the movie, which will include spoilers. With that being said, let's take a glimpse as to what JJ had to say about quote-unquote fixing The Last Jedi.
Thanks everyone, that was really fun. I will say it would be a much more interesting answer if there were conflict. The truth is that I was, as I mentioned earlier, getting 7 up and running, nothing but grateful that director and writer I admire as much as Rian was coming in to do that. Not expecting to come back to this, it was just fun to watch what was happening and get to respond to it. When I was called to come onto this movie, though of course I wish we'd had that time that we didn't, and was working with Chris, we had conversations with Rian at the beginning. It's been nothing but collaborative, and in a way the perspective that at least personally I got stepping away from it and seeing what Rian did, strangely it gave us opportunities that would never have been there, because of course he made choices that no one else would have made, just as we all do and any of us in this room do. So it was in a way it felt kind of like a gift. And though, of course, there were challenges in every direction, some logistical, some narrative, some, everything. It was, it was actually weirdly more helpful than not having that other energy. There was I thought there was kind of an alchemy because of the things that he did. And one other thing I'll say is I think that the people who say, that this film is kind of like flipping off The Last Jedi, and like when Luke says the thing he does about the lightsaber. If the scene in The Last Jedi where Luke tosses the saber over his shoulder were immediately followed by Luke saying, a Jedi's weapon deserves more respect, I'd think it was insane. But one of the many brilliant things that Rian did in Last Jedi is give Luke an arc. He learned something. He got somewhere. So at the end of that film, he recommitted to the thing that at the very beginning of the film he was rejecting. And so the idea that even Luke Skywalker can learn something, I think for a kid to hear Luke Skywalker say, "I was wrong," I think it's a beautiful thing, and I think it's something we could all probably do with a little bit more.
I will admit, in my initial viewing of the film on the Thursday night before its release showing, when I saw Luke catch the lightsaber coming out of the blaze of Rey's ship, I was very excited. Expecting a Force Ghost scene going into the film was a given, as that's the only way present Luke could enter the canon timeline and able to return. What I didn't anticipate, however, was the conversation that Luke had with Rey, namely the one-liner that I initially considered to be a shot at what Rian had done with the character of Luke in The Last Jedi, the "I was wrong" line. It didn't dawn on me until watching JJ comment about this that I realized it was actually me who was wrong, and not JJ. It's true that Luke is the one who redeemed himself by the end of The Last Jedi by finding a way to show down the entire First Order with a laser sword, redeeming his spirit of the character, the happy-campy-go-lucky we all know and love from the original trilogy. While I still can't say I'm happy that Luke died, I can't say that this story arc for the character doesn't fit the hero we all know Luke Skywalker to be. You may not like what J.J. Abrams did with The Rise of Skywalker, but it's hard to dispute factually with what J.J. did with Luke in this film, continuing his redemption arc and carrying him to the next level than what Rian did in The Last Jedi. By the end of his scene with Rey, Luke is the character we left at the end of Return of the Jedi, despite how you feel about Disney Star Wars. That wraps things up for me here in this video. Thank you guys for watching, may God bless you, and the Force be with you. If you enjoyed this episode, and frankly, even if you didn't, don't forget to subscribe.
Do it.
And if you want to help spread the word, please give this video a thumbs up and tell your friends to subscribe. Please check out the official Star Wars Coffee merchandise, and don't forget to check out all of the content playlists on this channel, including The Rise of Skywalker, The Mandalorian, and much more.